Thomas had been the lighthouse keeper for 43 years. The beam swept across the dark ocean every night, warning ships away from the rocky coast. Once, the lighthouse had been his pride. Now it was his prison. His wife, Catherine, had died 2 years ago. Cancer. Quick and cruel. They had no children, no family left. Just Thomas and the lighthouse on the edge of the world. Thomas was 74 years old. Most lighthouse keepers had retired decades ago. Automated systems had replaced them. But this lighthouse was historical, protected, and Thomas had nowhere else to go. So he stayed, alone, watching the sea, counting the days until he could join Catherine. The townspeople rarely visited. The lighthouse was 3 miles from the nearest village, a winding dirt road through the forest. In winter, it was often impassable. Thomas would go weeks without seeing another soul. He did not mind the isolation at first. After Catherine died, he wanted to be alone, wanted to grieve in peace. But 2 years had passed, and the loneliness had become unbearable. Thomas ate alone, slept alone, maintained the lighthouse alone. He spoke to no one. Sometimes he would go days without saying a single word out loud. His voice had become rough and unfamiliar. At night, he would sit in the lamp room at the top of the lighthouse. The massive Fresnel lens rotating slowly, the beam sweeping across the water. And Thomas would talk to Catherine. "I miss you," he would say to the empty room. "I do not know how to do this without you." Catherine had been his whole world. They had met when he was 28. She was a teacher in the village. She had come to the lighthouse on a school trip. Thomas had given the tour. And when their eyes met, he knew. They married 6 months later. Catherine moved into the lighthouse. For 46 years, they had lived there together. She painted. He maintained the light. They were happy. Isolated, yes, but happy. Then Catherine got sick. The doctors said 6 months. She lasted 4, and Thomas had been alone ever since. He thought about leaving, retiring, moving to the village, but what would he do there? He knew the lighthouse, knew the rhythm of the tides, knew every crack in the stone walls. This was his home, even if it was lonely. Besides, who would take care of the light? The automated system was unreliable. Thomas had seen it fail twice in the last year. Ships depended on this light. Lives depended on it. Thomas could not abandon his duty. So he stayed, day after day, night after night, alone with his memories and his grief. One morning in early November, Thomas woke to the sound of rain. A storm was coming. He could feel it in his bones. The kind of storm that made ships run aground. The kind that turned the sea into a monster. Thomas climbed to the lamp room, checked the light, checked the generator. Everything was working. The beam would shine through the storm. Ships would be safe. But Thomas felt uneasy. Something was wrong. He could not explain it. Just a feeling. He descended the spiral staircase, made coffee, ate bread and cheese. The routine never changed. Routine was all he had. Around noon, the storm hit. Wind howled. Rain lashed the lighthouse. The sea rose up in fury. Thomas had seen 1,000 storms. This one was bad, but the lighthouse had weathered worse. He settled in his chair, a book in his lap. He would wait out the storm. Like always. Alone. Like always. Then, around 3 in the afternoon, he heard something. A sound that did not belong. A small voice. Crying. Thomas froze. Am I imagining it? He thought. He had been alone so long. Sometimes he heard Catherine's voice. Sometimes he heard footsteps that were not there. But the crying continued. Real. Desperate. Thomas stood. Opened the door. Rain poured in. And there, soaked and shivering on his doorstep, was a child. A little girl. Maybe 8 years old. Blonde hair plastered to her face. Blue lips. Shaking with cold. Her eyes wide with fear. Please, she whispered. Help me. Thomas stared. For a moment, he could not move. Could not speak. A child. Here, in the storm. Impossible. But she was real. And she was freezing. Come inside, Thomas said. His voice cracked. He had not spoken to another person in weeks. The girl stumbled in. Thomas closed the door against the storm. He grabbed a blanket, wrapped it around her. "What is your name?" Thomas asked. "Lily," the girl said through chattering teeth. "What are you doing here? How did you get here?" "I got lost," Lily said. "I was hiking with my parents. We got separated in the storm. I tried to find them but I could not. I saw the lighthouse, so I came here." Thomas felt panic rising. A lost child. In a storm. Her parents would be frantic. "Where were you hiking?" "Near the cliffs. The coastal trail." Thomas knew it. A difficult trail. Dangerous in good weather. Deadly in a storm like this. "We need to find your parents," Thomas said. Lily started crying again. "I do not know where they are. I walked for so long. I am so scared." Thomas knelt down, looked at the little girl. He had no idea what to do. He had no children, no experience with them, but this child needed help. And for the first time in 2 years, Thomas had a purpose beyond maintaining the light. "You are safe now," Thomas said gently. "We will find your parents. But first, we need to get you warm." Thomas made hot tea, found dry clothes, a sweater of Catherine's that he had never been able to give away. It was too big for Lily, but it was warm. Lily sat by the small stove, holding the tea mug with both hands, her shaking slowly subsiding. Thomas tried the phone. Dead. The storm had knocked out the lines. His radio was old. He tried to call for help. Static. Nothing. "We are cut off," Thomas said. "The storm is too strong. But when it passes, we will get help. Your parents will be looking for you." "What if they cannot find me?" Lily asked, her voice small. "They will find you," Thomas said with more confidence than he felt. "And until then, you are safe here. I promise." Lily looked around the lighthouse. The stone walls, the narrow windows, the spiral staircase leading up into darkness. "Is it scary, living here all alone?" Thomas paused. "Yes," he admitted. "Sometimes it is very scary." "Why do you live here then?" "Because someone has to keep the light burning. Ships depend on it. If the light goes out, ships crash. People die. So I stay. I keep the light burning." "That is very brave," Lily said. Thomas smiled sadly. "I do not know about brave. But it is my duty." "My dad says duty is important," Lily said. "He is a firefighter. He says sometimes you have to do hard things because they are the right things." "Your father sounds like a good man," Thomas said. "He is probably very worried about you right now." Lily's eyes filled with tears again. "I am sorry. I should not have wandered off. But I saw a bird. A really pretty bird. And I followed it. And then I could not find the trail anymore." "It is not your fault," Thomas said. "Storms are confusing. Even adults get lost." The afternoon wore on. The storm raged. Thomas and Lily sat together in the warm lighthouse. And slowly, they began to talk. Lily told Thomas about her school, her friends, her love of drawing. She pulled a small sketchbook from her backpack. Waterlogged but salvageable. She showed Thomas her drawings. Trees, animals, her family. Thomas found himself smiling, really smiling, for the first time in 2 years. "You are very talented," Thomas said. "Thank you," Lily said shyly. "My mom says I get it from my grandma. She was an artist." "My wife was an artist," Thomas said. "She painted, mostly the ocean, the lighthouse. She said every day the light was different. Every day she saw something new to paint." "Can I see her paintings?" Lily asked. Thomas hesitated. He had not looked at Catherine's paintings since she died. They were in the small studio she had used, a room he had avoided for 2 years. "Maybe later," Thomas said quietly. As evening approached, Thomas realized Lily must be hungry. He made a simple dinner. Soup and bread. They ate together at the small table. The first meal Thomas had shared with someone since Catherine died. "This is good," Lily said. "It is not much," Thomas replied. "I am not a very good cook. Catherine always did the cooking." "Catherine was your wife?" "Yes. She died 2 years ago." "I am sorry," Lily said. "That must be very sad." It is, Thomas admitted. Every day. But you learn to live with it. You have to. After dinner, Thomas climbed the spiral staircase to check the light. Lily followed him. She gasped when she reached the lamp room. "It is so beautiful," she whispered. The massive lens rotated slowly, the beam sweeping out into the storm. The light so bright it hurt to look at directly. Every 10 seconds, Thomas explained. The beam completes a rotation. Ships see the pattern. They know where they are. They stay away from the rocks. "How many ships have you saved?" Lily asked. Thomas thought about it. "I do not know. Hundreds, probably. Maybe thousands over 43 years. Most of them never know. They just see the light. They change course. They sail safely past. They never know how close they came." "But you know," Lily said. "Yes," Thomas replied. "I know." They stood together in the lamp room. The storm raging outside. The light turning. Steady. Reliable. Eternal. "My dad says lights are important," Lily said. "When he fights fires, he looks for lights. Flashlights in windows. Lights mean people are alive. Lights mean hope." "Your father is right," Thomas said. "Lights do mean hope." That night, Thomas made a bed for Lily on the small couch. He gave her extra blankets. Made sure she was warm. "What if the storm does not stop?" Lily asked sleepily. "It will stop," Thomas promised. "Storms always stop eventually. And when it does, we will find your parents." "Thank you for helping me," Lily said. "You are welcome," Thomas replied. "Now get some sleep." Thomas climbed to his own room. A small space at the top of the lighthouse. He had not slept well since Catherine died. But tonight, knowing there was someone else in the lighthouse, he felt less alone. For the first time in 2 years, Thomas fell asleep without crying. Morning came. The storm had lessened but not stopped. Rain still fell. Wind still howled. But it was survivable now. Thomas tried the phone again. Still dead. The radio. Still static. They were still cut off. Lily woke up, hungry. Thomas made breakfast. Eggs and toast. They ate together. "Can you teach me about the lighthouse?" Lily asked. Thomas was surprised. "You want to learn?" "Yes," Lily said enthusiastically. "I have never seen a lighthouse up close. And you know everything about it." So Thomas became a teacher. He showed Lily how the light worked, how the lens focused the beam, how the rotation was timed. He explained the history of the lighthouse. Built in 1872, 153 years old. A marvel of engineering. Lily listened with wide eyes, asked questions, drew pictures in her sketchbook. "Can I help?" she asked. "With your work?" Thomas thought about it. "Well, the brass fixtures need polishing. Would you like to help with that?" Lily nodded eagerly. So they worked together. Thomas and Lily, polishing brass, cleaning glass, maintaining the light. The work that Thomas had done alone for 2 years suddenly felt meaningful again. Because he was sharing it, teaching it, passing it on. As they worked, they talked. Lily told Thomas about her dreams. She wanted to be an artist, like her grandmother, like Catherine. Thomas found himself telling Lily about Catherine, how they met, how she had made the lighthouse a home, how she had seen beauty in the isolation. "She sounds wonderful," Lily said. "She was," Thomas agreed. "She was the best person I ever knew." "Do you miss her?" "Every second of every day," Thomas said. "But talking about her helps. I have not talked about her in so long. Everyone in the village, they do not know what to say. So they say nothing. And I became silent. But talking to you, it helps me remember the good times. Not just the sadness. I am glad," Lily said simply. That afternoon, Lily asked to see Catherine's paintings. Thomas led her to the small studio. Opened the door he had kept closed for 2 years. The room was exactly as Catherine had left it. Easel, paints, brushes, and paintings. Dozens of paintings of the lighthouse, the ocean, the cliffs, each one capturing a different moment, a different light. Lily walked slowly around the room, studying each painting. "These are incredible," she whispered. Thomas felt tears in his eyes. Yes, he said, they are. She loved this place, Lily said. I can see it in every painting. She did, Thomas confirmed. She always said the lighthouse was not a prison. It was a privilege, a place most people never got to experience. She said we were the luckiest people in the world. Were you happy here? Lily asked. The happiest, Thomas said. Even now, even with the loneliness, I would not trade those 46 years for anything. Lily picked up a brush. Can I try? She asked. Thomas smiled. Catherine would like that, he said. So Lily painted a simple picture of the lighthouse. The beam shining. Thomas watched, and for a moment, it felt like Catherine was there. Smiling, approving. That evening, the storm finally broke. The sun appeared briefly before setting. The sea calmed. Thomas tried the radio. This time, it worked. He contacted the Coast Guard. A little girl? The operator said. Yes, we have a search party out. Her parents have been looking since yesterday. Where are you? Thomas gave his location. They said they would send someone immediately. Thomas hung up, turned to Lily. They found your parents, he said. They're coming to get you. Lily smiled, but Thomas saw tears in her eyes. I am glad, she said. But I am sad too. I liked being here, with you. I liked having you here, Thomas admitted. More than I can say. An hour later, a Coast Guard boat arrived. And behind it, another boat. With Lily's parents. They rushed to the lighthouse. Lily ran to them. They embraced, crying, grateful. Lily's father approached Thomas, shook his hand firmly. Thank you, he said. Thank you for taking care of our daughter. She is a special girl, Thomas said. Lily's mother hugged Thomas. You saved her life, she said. She saved mine, Thomas replied quietly. As they prepared to leave, Lily ran back to Thomas. She held out her sketchbook. Opened to a page. It was a drawing of Thomas. Standing in the lamp room. The light behind him. Below it, she had written, the lighthouse keeper. The bravest man I know. I want you to have this, Lily said. Thomas took the drawing, his hands trembling. Thank you, he whispered. Will I see you again? Lily asked. I hope so, Thomas said. I will come visit, Lily promised. I will bring my mom and dad. And I will show them the lighthouse. And Catherine's paintings. And we can have tea. Okay? Okay, Thomas agreed. I would like that very much. Lily hugged Thomas. Then she left with her parents. The boats disappeared into the dusk. And Thomas was alone again. But this time, the loneliness felt different. Less heavy. Less permanent. Because now he knew. He was not forgotten. Not invisible. He mattered. To Lily. And maybe to others too. The next day, Thomas woke feeling different. Lighter. He made coffee. But instead of sitting alone in silence, he found himself humming a song Catherine used to sing. He climbed to the lamp room. The morning sun illuminated the ocean. Beautiful. For the first time in 2 years, Thomas really saw it. Really appreciated it. He looked at Lily's drawing. Pinned it to the wall beside Catherine's desk. The bravest man I know. Thomas did not feel brave. But maybe that was what bravery was. Doing your duty even when it hurt. Staying even when you wanted to leave. Keeping the light burning even when your own light had gone out. Later that morning, Thomas heard an engine. A car. Coming up the dirt road. He opened the door. It was the village priest. Father Michael. An old friend. Thomas, Father Michael said warmly. I heard about the little girl. The whole village is talking about it. She is safe, Thomas said. Back with her family. Because of you, Father Michael said. You saved her. I just did what anyone would do. Father Michael shook his head. You did more than that. And the village wants to thank you. We are having a dinner tomorrow night. In your honor. Will you come? Thomas hesitated. He had avoided the village for 2 years. Avoided people. Avoided sympathy. But now, he found himself saying, yes. I will come. Father Michael smiled. Good. Catherine would be proud of you, you know. I hope so, Thomas said quietly. After Father Michael left, Thomas did something he had not done in 2 years. He cleaned the house. Really cleaned it. He opened windows. Let fresh air in. He took down the dusty curtains. Washed them. He went into Catherine's studio. Looked at her paintings. And for the first time, he did not feel only sadness. He felt gratitude for the years they had together, for the love they shared, for the home they built. Catherine would not want me to be lonely, Thomas realized. She would want me to live, not just survive, but live. The next evening, Thomas drove to the village. His hands shook on the steering wheel. He had not been around this many people in so long. But when he arrived at the community center, he was met with smiles, handshakes, hugs, people he had known for decades, people who had given him space to grieve, but who had not forgotten him. The dinner was warm, joyful. People asked about the lighthouse, about the rescue. Thomas found himself telling the story, laughing at Lily's curiosity, her endless questions, her drawings. She reminded you that life goes on, Father Michael said, that there is still purpose, still meaning. Yes, Thomas agreed. She did. After dinner, an older woman approached Thomas. Her name was Helen, a widow herself. She had lost her husband 5 years ago. It gets easier, Helen said gently. The grief never goes away, but it becomes bearable. You learn to carry it, and eventually, you find reasons to smile again. How did you do it? Thomas asked. I volunteered, Helen said. At the school, with children. They reminded me that life is beautiful, that there is still joy in the world. Maybe you could do something similar. Maybe you could give tours of the lighthouse again. Teach children about its history, about the sea, about duty and purpose. Thomas thought about it. I used to give tours, he said. Years ago, before Catherine got sick. The children would love it, Helen said. And I think you would too. That night, Thomas drove back to the lighthouse. But he did not feel lonely. He felt hopeful. For the first time in 2 years, he felt like the future held something other than emptiness. 2 weeks later, Lily returned. With her parents, and her younger brother. They came for a tour. Thomas showed them everything. The lamp room, the lens, the generator, Catherine's studio. He told stories about storms he had weathered, ships he had warned, the beauty and terror of the sea. Lily's father, James, was fascinated. This is incredible, he said. You have dedicated your life to saving people you will never meet. It is what I do, Thomas said simply. It is heroic, James insisted. After the tour, they had tea. Just like Lily had promised. They looked at Catherine's paintings. Lily showed her family her own drawings of the lighthouse. You are very talented, Thomas said. Just like your grandmother. Just like Catherine. Will you teach me more? Lily asked. About painting? About the lighthouse? I would be honored, Thomas said. Over the following months, Lily visited regularly. Sometimes with her family. Sometimes with her school class. Thomas began giving tours again. Teaching children about the lighthouse. About the sea. About history and responsibility. The lighthouse stopped being a prison. It became a classroom. A museum, a place of wonder. Thomas started painting again too. Not like Catherine. His style was different, but he found joy in it. In capturing the light, the water, the endless horizon. He kept Lily's drawing on the wall. The bravest man I know. On hard days, he would look at it. Remember that he mattered, that he had purpose. 1 year after Lily had stumbled to his door, Thomas sat in the lamp room. The anniversary of Catherine's death had just passed. It had been hard, but not unbearable. He thought about the last 3 years. The isolation, the grief, the loneliness, and then Lily, a lost child who had found him, who had reminded him why he stayed, why he kept the light burning. Catherine, Thomas said to the empty room, I think I understand now. You did not want me to stop living when you died. You wanted me to keep going. To find new purpose, to help others, to share what we built here. The light rotated, the beam swept across the dark ocean. Steady, reliable, eternal. I will keep the light burning, Thomas said. For you, for Lily, For all the ships that need a beacon in the darkness, I will keep it burning. And he did. For another 10 years, Thomas kept the light burning. He gave tours, taught children, painted, lived. He was never alone again. The village embraced him. Lily visited often, became like a granddaughter. She even helped him maintain the lighthouse, learning the skills, the traditions. When Thomas finally retired at 84, it was Lily who took over. Now 21, a trained lighthouse keeper, the youngest in the country. She had studied engineering, learned the trade, all because of Thomas. The lighthouse will be in good hands, Thomas said on his last day. Catherine would be proud of both of us, Lily said, hugging the old man who had saved her, and who she had saved in return. Thomas moved to the village, a small house near the water, where he could still see the lighthouse, still see the beam sweeping across the ocean every night. He painted, gardened, had tea with friends, was part of the community, was no longer lonely. He thought often of that stormy day, the knock on the door, the small girl who had changed everything. Life is strange, Thomas would say. You think you are done. You think there is nothing left. And then someone knocks on your door, and everything changes. Thomas lived to be 92. When he died, peacefully in his sleep, the entire village attended his funeral. But it was Lily who gave the eulogy. Thomas taught me about light, she said. Not just lighthouse lights, but the light we carry inside. The light of purpose, of duty, of love. Even in our darkest moments, we can be a beacon for others. We can guide them to safety. Thomas did that for me, and I will spend the rest of my life doing it for others. That night, Lily climbed to the lamp room, the lighthouse where it all began. She lit the lamp, watched the beam sweep across the ocean. Steady, reliable, eternal. Thank you, Thomas, she whispered, for keeping the light burning, for teaching me, for showing me what it means to live with purpose. The light turned, and somewhere, ships sailed safely past the rocks, guided by a beacon, never knowing who had kept it burning, never knowing the lonely man who had found hope again, never knowing the little girl who had saved him. But the light knew, the lighthouse knew, and it kept turning, forever, a monument to duty, to purpose, to the unexpected connections that save us all.